Hello my darlings, it's time for another retro review. And today I'll be retro reviewing this Brother AX-15 electronic typewriter. This is unique because it has invisible keys. All the keys are hidden behind this plastic panel and you have to sense where to touch the panel, and then it prints off words on pieces of paper. That reminds me, I need to go upstairs and get some paper. No, of course, this is just a cover to keep the keyboard nice and clean. I bought this on eBay for the grand total of £3.30 new pence plus postage. And before I bought it, I checked and I thought, no, these won't be available. But I checked if you could still buy ribbon and correction tape for electric typewriters. And yes, I discovered you can. And I found a supplier. It's not the genuine Brother one, although you can buy genuine Brother cartridges. So these are the disposable cartridges that once they're used up, you can't use them again. That's it. And inside this packaging is the correction ribbon. The reason I bought this, some of you, my regular viewers, will know I'm putting up my As Seen on TV series, which I started recording probably 1988 or so. And in each one of those series, I do a tour of my bedroom, a tour of the house I lived in at the time. And I'm noticing things in those tours that, you know, I remember, you know, from my bedroom, from the house. And I'm looking them up on eBay, not necessarily to buy them, but just to have a closer look at them again. So I decided to look this up, and I had to freeze frame and zoom in to see what particular model this was. So discovered for my video, it was a Brother AX-15. There are other Brother machines. I think there's an AX-10, which is more basic, and probably models above the AX-15. But this is the actual model that I used to own, that I used to type my letters to my pen pal Sue. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice just to have a play with one again? So when I saw you could still buy the ribbons, I placed my bid on this and won it. In fact, you can still buy brand new electronic typewriters. I was quite surprised. They're about £300. I think the company's Silver Reed. They probably don't make them themselves. It's probably just made in the Far East with Silver Reed's name on it. But you can still buy brand new electric typewriters. I still can't get my head around that, because after I stopped using this typewriter, I progressed onto a Macintosh classic computer with a separate printer, and then I wrote my letters on that. And before the typewriter, of course, I got a pen and a piece of paper with my awful handwriting and wrote letters. So I just thought, wouldn't it be nice just to have a look? And for £3.30 plus a bit of postage, I thought, no, I'm going to try it out. And here it is. It's very beige, it's very 80s. And it's made in the UK. Can you believe it? Made in the UK on it. You could still buy a lot of British manufactured goods in the 80s. Probably in the 90s, things started to go abroad. One by one, companies closed their UK factories and shipped it all to the Far East, and we're a poorer country as a result, in my opinion. So here it is. I don't have the instructions. I have had a play with this, and surprisingly it did work, although not very well, because I think it does need the new ribbon. But I soon got used to using it. I mean, it's like riding a bike. You never forget. I'm not trained on touch typing, or, you know, my words per minute is pretty slow, but, you know, for the letters I used to write, it was fine. Behind this flap we have the mains cable tucked nicely and neatly away, and then you just put it through the hole at the back. Well, that plug's a bit grubby, but that's a good MK plug. The Rolls Royce of plugs, in my opinion, and I expect the plug made in England. Can you buy an English or British made plug anymore? I very much doubt it. You can still buy MK. I suspect they're made in the Far East. I'll just pop that down there. Let's have a quick look at what this rating sticker says. This is brother model AX-15, serial number A88738725, 240 volts, 50 Hz, 35 watts, 0.18 amps, double insulated. It's manufactured to British standard 5850. Brother Industries UK Limited, made in UK. I think it's very slightly discoloured over the years. It might have been a slightly lighter shade of cream. I did wipe over the keyboard with some wet wipes. It seems to have got grubby again. But proper keyboard, proper QWERTY keyboard. And there's different settings for line spacing and pitch. I think I worked out, when my test, I think I did it on 12 pitch. I might have been 1.5 line or 1, I'm not sure. So the pitch, I think, is just the font, like the font size. Obviously you can't change the font on this. I wonder what the font is. Please comment below if you know what font this prints in. So yeah, it's just the keyboard, really. This is more or less the same colour as my Macintosh that replaced it. So we've got this bit. I don't know what these things are called. You know, I just bought a typewriter to use it. There'll be a name for these things. But here's a flap. I think a flap, and this bit here, that you know, you adjust that once you put the paper in. I assume this black thing is called the roller, and I think there's something called a carriage. I don't know. Anyway, this bit comes up as well for maintenance and changing the printer ribbon. It looks a bit, maybe a bit of a spray of contact cleaner would help, but we're going to see if it improves, because like I say, I did try this out. It physically works. It just wasn't printing out very clearly, but I think hopefully that's down to the ribbon. So this is the ribbon, and it is a genuine brother, so we can take that out. I think this little dial here with the direction arrow, I think you turn it just in case you need to sort of, if it's a bit slack or something, like a cassette tape, perhaps you just turn it. You can see, I just about see where I've been trying it out. I mean, I don't know how used this ribbon is. I'm hoping it is just the ribbon that's causing this typewriter not to print very clearly. Also, if I might have to tilt up the typewriter so you can see. There we go. That yellow thing is the correction ribbon. No need for Tipp-Ex with this typewriter. All I had to do back in the 80s was to press the delete button, and it would go over with the correction tape and delete the last letter, word, or I believe you could delete the whole line in one go. So that needs changing. Okie dokie, I think that is correctly positioned. I wound it on, which seems to have increased the tension. So, well, fingers crossed. I've got my new ribbon, obviously just a copy. I have seen genuine brother ones on eBay. Oh dear, I think I'm turning it the wrong way. Oh, something's gone wrong here. I think I've broken it. Oh, look, it's already coming apart. Oh, Roger, you should have left well alone. I should have left well alone. I've just been fiddling with it, so it's not very good. I might have to invest in some old stock brother. That feels, the case feels twice the thickness of this one. I've seen also some Boots. Remember Boots? Well, we still have Boots, but back in the day, Boots sold typewriter ribbons. I've seen a pack of 3 compatible typewriter ribbons for the brother typewriter on eBay. I might try those. These, because at least they're vintage-ish, which I think a vintage-ish copy part is better than a copy part made today. Somehow I get the feeling it will be better. But I've absolutely probably ruined this ribbon because, oh crikey. Again, cut and pause until I try and fix the cartridge I've just broken. No, that's well and truly fooked. There's a spring in here. I've no idea. It's just, I will not buy from this supplier again. I'm going to pay the difference, pay the extra. I mean, it's completely knackered. I hardly touched the thing. Right, well, you see, this isn't going to work. Now, this is all I did with the replacement. I just wanted to tighten the doodah, but I turned it the wrong way. But even if I turn the brother one the wrong way, all that happens is that goes too slack. So I can turn it back the correct way and tighten up the doodah. When I turned the cheapo copy the other way, it just completely fell to bits. So we'll try and get some print out of that, but I'm going to have to go onto eBay later. And if this doesn't work, I'll just have to film the rest of this video at a later date after I've got some, either those Boots cartridges or a proper new old stock brother. Hopefully they won't have dried out. I suppose they could dry out, couldn't they? After all these years. I mean, it's a very old piece of technology, really, isn't it? I think I bought mine in 1988. So, you know, this is pretty old. Right. Okay, well, we'll switch on. There is a power switch at the side. Ooh. It's doing things. Right, let's work out. I can't remember. I think I have to move that bit to feed the paper in initially. Right, and then close that bit, and then manually bring the paper around. Ah, that's it. Right, it's a little bit skew-if, so yes, I think now I have to release that. There's a name for it. I don't know what it is. Ex-typists, I'm sure in the comments you can tell me what that bit's called. I'm not bothered what the parts are called, as long as I know how to work it. I'll have to see if I can find the instruction book online. I seem to remember you had to sort of make sure the paper was straight, not skew-if and wonky. Then you'd lock it back in place, and then you'd doodah. And then I always used to write my address this side, and then the date. Right, let's see. Oh, just don't mind me, folks. Oh, what? Oh, and I think that's. Oh, it seems to be printing. Oh, I've made a mistake. Right, we'll try and correct it. I think that's the correction button. Oh, it's not. Where is? Oh, is that the correction button? Right, I've gone back. Spacebar. Is that the correction button? No, that's line out. Ah, line out or word out. I don't want the word. Alright, that's there. That's the correction button. Oh, and it's worked. No, it hasn't. Sort of. It is sort of working. I've missed out a... It's not letting me correct that. Oh, hecky thump. Can I just correct it manually? No, it's quite clever. It knows. It knows that I've corrected a word. My new... I'm going to have to write the W again and then correct it. No, it's not worked. Oh dear. Right, I've ballsed that up. Oh, well, it is actually, seems to be typing okay now with that old ribbon. So all is not lost. For some reason, it just wasn't, I don't know, it was just very, very faint when I initially tried this out, but it seems to have corrected itself somehow. I feel like a secretary in the 80s, but of course with that typing speed, I'd better have good legs and a cracking bust on me. And I'd also be the boss's favourite. I'd go in there and take dictation while crossing my long legs, and then the boss would think nothing of his wife and kids and to lavish me with expensive presents, take me on dirty weekends to Brighton, and I would basically be his whore for material possessions and nookie. Oh, those were the days. I remember... Yeah, I'm not politically correct. You might have gathered. I remember episodes of 70s sitcoms where, of course, women were objectified as sex objects. And why not? Bless them, you know. They're not sex objects. I don't think that. Please. I think women are fantastic. Women are the backbone of this country. They are mothers. They are homemakers. They are career women. They are everything. You know, women are better than men, to be honest. In many, many things. They just might not be able to fix the gear stick on a mini metro. But, I mean, even some women can do that. And why not? Right. I'm digging a big hole for myself. I'm trying to dig it out. No, you know. I'm just thinking about the time I was brought up in. And, you know, sitcoms like On the Buses were particularly bad for this. Are You Being Served? But I also remember George and Mildred, George's brother-in-law, the awful king of Oxshott. And there was some scene in his office and he had a couple of secretaries. One did the typing and the other one, the dolly bird, where she didn't really know what she did. She just got taken to Guernsey and was given flowers on her birthday and taken out for lunch and things. And the wife at home obviously didn't know. But yes... Happy days. Right. So I hope you've not watched this video because you want to know how to use this or how to put in a correction tape. You know, don't, you know, I'm sorry I've wasted your time if that's the case. But you can search. I mean, most instruction books for even old stuff you might find online. It's surprising. I could do the instruction book for this because I can't remember the pitch and line. So I'm just going to write, I don't know. Right, so I've written a word in line 1. Oh no, I think the line doodah is the distance between the lines. So I'll just write some gobbledygook. Oh, ooh, kept on going then. Then if I press return, write some more gobbledygook. And then if I press return again and write another line of gobbledygook. Right. So that's on setting 1 and that's on setting 2. So I think that's the distance between the lines, which I think is too wide. I think 1 is not wide enough. So if I go press it again. Oh no, oh that was on 1.5. This is 2, hang on. Right, oh that's a big distance, isn't it? Can you see? So that's the distance between the lines when you select 2 on the line with the line button. I think the best one for me was 1.5 distance between lines. Now pitch, I think it was on 10 because when you press the pitch button, we've got 12. So I think 10 pitch. Whoops, I'll just do gobbledygook. There's no point in me trying to write something. So that's 10 pitch. Oh, it's not working. I've come to the end of the piece of paper. Oh, crikey, it's not an iPad. Right, hang on. Right, there's my letter. I'm applying for a new job. Do you think I'll get it? Well, the fact I can... I think the fact if you send in a typed letter, you've got the job straight away. It proves you're literate and you can use equipment. I think they give jobs to anyone who just turns up these days. Right, you get so used to doing things a certain way. I forgot the paper runs out. As I said, I'm not typing on a typewriter, iPad. And you know how ingrained I am I do sometimes pick up a book, but after I've been on the iPad for quite some time, and I read one page, I found myself, please tell me you've done this too, folks, make me feel better about myself. I've been reading a physical book, and then when I've read one page, I've found myself doing that to the paper of the book instead of... We've lost the art of page turning. We really have. We've lost the art of getting up off our arses and changing channels. But back then we only had 3 channels originally, and then 4, and then 5. Oh, 5 channels to watch. Still, I think we had better stuff to watch when there was only 5 channels. Less competition, so I think they made more of an effort, didn't they? Right, what am I trying to show you? Right, okay, so this is on pitch 10. Right, that's pitch 10. That's the size of the doodah. Now, this is pitch 12. Not much difference. I think I'll go for pitch 10. Line spacing 1.5, pitch 10. Right, it's all coming back to me. It's going to be a while before I can write a letter. But there's other things. There's this auto return on off. There's another button with 3 X's on off. CTR, RMF. There's ways of centering, I'm sure. Is CTR center? Code. Well, it doesn't seem very central. What's RMF do? Nothing, it bleeps. Auto return, on, off, on. Still get used to doing the punctuation. It slows me down. Anyway, you get the general idea, folks. But I thought I'd show you this typewriter, and if my pen pal Sue is watching, I'm sure she is. Here it is, Sue. This is the device I used to neatly type my letters to you on all those years ago, before my brother gave me his old Macintosh Classic, and I went into the computer age. But back then, the Macintosh Classic, it couldn't connect to the interweb. It was basically, I just used it as a typewriter, but it had a separate screen. It was a bit easier to, didn't need ink. Well, of course it did need ink. The printer needed ink. But it was easier to change things and correct them before printing them off. And of course you'd press print and then you get that mechanical noise. It's so nostalgic. Really pleased to have this, and it yeah, I will use it again. I think if I ever did decide to write an autobiography, why anyone would want to read about my life is so dull. I've lived a nice, comfortable life, I have to say. Not many dramas. There has been some, but I've been very blessed and lucky. So it would be just, there would be very little drama. Although I could write my memoirs under a pen name and be really bitchy. I'd love to do that, because I'm not bitchy in real life, on the whole. So anyway, when you finish typing your letters, wasted so much paper, there is an on-off switch here. Turn that off. And then we can open up the compartment at the back. I'll just have to lean down and unplug the MK. They've even provided a cutout for the prongs. So you can pop that in. Oh, hang on, let me just, I've got the cable wrapped around my legs. We did typing at school, actually. I think even the boys, back in the day when I was at school, boys and girls had to initially do gender, well, subjects that you'd associate with boys or girls. So in the early years of secondary school, the boys had to do needlework and cookery or home economics. The girls had to do woodwork and metalwork. I think it was for 1 or 2 years, and then we got to choose our options. So of course mostly the girls would opt out of the metalwork and the woodwork and all that palaver. And then the boys, normally, most of the boys would opt out of home economics. But because I was absolutely, and still am, not quite as bad. I'm sure I'm autistic, you know. I've done a couple of tests. But anyway, I didn't opt out of what was called home economics because although I wasn't all that... I didn't mind baking stuff and making fairy cakes and eating them all on the way home. I didn't mind that, never taking any home. Mum would buy me the ingredients and she'd come home and say, oh, where's what you've made? And I'll say, I've eaten them. She didn't mind. So I continued to do, I got an O-level. I've got an O-level in home economics, but it was mainly because I was more interested in the appliances, especially the vacuums. And in the early days of doing home economics, because my lesson was just before the lunch hour, I used to stay behind in the lunch hour and wash the tea towels in the Hoover-matic twin tub that they had in the home economics classroom. So, isn't it amazing how simple objects can bring back so many memories of other things? I mean, I know they're things and we're supposed to not focus on things. Things, you know, material possessions, it's obviously nowadays people want material possessions and it's gone overboard. But there's certain material possessions that can absolutely bring your past back to you so vividly. I'm almost crying thinking of it. And yes, we can't take these things with us, but my reasoning is we can't take anything with us when we die. If there is an afterlife, I think there is, we won't have these material possessions. So I'm thinking, while we're in the physical plane, just buy all the material possessions you want and use them. Because you might not get a chance. Although I'm hoping in heaven you'll have access to all the things you wanted to have access to in life but couldn't, or things you did have access to and you can now have access to them again. But I think the most important thing, of course, if there is an afterlife, is not having access to our washing machines, typewriters, vacuum cleaners, or whatever else we were attached to back in the day. The thing that will be most important is being able to speak to and have access to our dead friends and relatives and pets. So, oh crikey, this has gone a bit different, hasn't it? Well, that's what you get with me. So if you've just tuned in, if this is your first ever video of Roger's Bits and Doings, it's very eclectic. 1 minute I can be showing you a typewriter, all matter of fact, and the next I can be going into spiritual matters. So if you don't like that sort of content, well, just don't watch me anymore. But if you do, please thumb up and subscribe, because you never know what you're going to get with me. Just wanted to show you one final thing before I go. So finally, after typing your letter and replacing the keyboard cover, you can carry your typewriter to wherever you want to put it, and it will stand up on its end, like so. Just tuck it down the side of somewhere. I used to have it down the side of my bedside table, I think, in my room. I've got a video of touring my room back in the day when I had this, and it wasn't kept on my desk. I just put it down the side, and then when I wanted to write a letter again, grabbed it, popped it on my desk, and did all that palaver. But anyway, £3.30, I think. That's a bargain, well worth £3.30 for a trip down memory lane. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do you have an experience of using a typewriter back in the day? What did you think when you changed to a word processor? Not a lot of difference back in the day, because of course a word processor keyboard, much the same as a typewriter keyboard. But I don't think people nowadays, we don't really have keyboards like this. Even my laptop doesn't have a keyboard like this. It's all sort of flat keys, aren't there? But anyway, I've enjoyed making this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you like this content, please subscribe, and you'll be notified when you click the bell icon. You'll be notified of all my new uploads, which will include my As Seen on TV series, where you'll see me going down memory lane, but actually not going down memory lane. I'm actually in memory lane in those videos, because I started recording them in the late 80s and they go on into the 90s. And so you'll see how technology changes, how my house changed, how my hairline changed, how my stomach got bigger. So it's all good, clean fun, especially if you're of a certain age. If you're a Gen Xer, I think I'm an Xer. I'm not a boomer. I think I'm an Xer. If you're Generation X and you live in the UK, you might find some things on my channel of interest. I'm going now, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye for now.